everyone. Thank you for joining us today regarding home buying. It's such a big purchase that you're going to make, and it's so important to really know all of the information. We're going to go over today. My name is Carla Needler. I've been with BECU for 11 years, and then we also have a real estate agent that's going to be here with us today, and she's going to be talking about the real estate end of things on the purchasing when you're purchasing a home. And let's see. Oh, I'm not getting the slides to come through. Okay, so then there's me, and this is Kelly that's going to be joining us. Thank you for coming to the summit. Such a fun event that we do. We are going to be going over home buying in today's market. We're going to be talking about home loan options, the loan approval process,
Okay,
finding your home.
Unmute the green room tab, and then you should be able to hear everybody again.
I just joined you live.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
So we had some technical difficulties, and we're still kind of trying to get those worked out right now. So Kelly, we want to be able to hear her because she has a lot of good information to share.
Okay. Am I good?
Kelly, do you want to introduce yourself? So we're going to be going over home loan options, a loan approval process, finding a home, making an offer, and types of properties. So we have a little quiz that we want to see if you guys can all guess what this answer is. If you could just put it in our chat box. What is the average amount of time a home is on the market for? Oh wait, I lost my slide here. Okay. So I can continue to do the seminar. Okay. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
You want to introduce yourself?
Of course. Hi, I am Callie Lagoska. I am a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway, and I am excited to be here to talk about home buying with you all. I primarily work in Seattle and King County and work with a lot of first-time home buyers, so I'm excited to share some information.
Great. Well, she's got lots to share, so we're excited for that. So we're going to go back to our question that we had up. How long is the average? What do you think is the average amount of time that your home is on the market for before it sells? So, 2 days, 7 days, 11 days, 23 days. And then we're going to come back to this. We're going to answer that question when Callie does her slides about the real estate end. So this is a really interesting one for sure. So home loan options is our first little part here. And so we have home loan options. We have jumbo loans. Jumbo loans depends on the county, but anything over $726, $201,000 is considered a jumbo and for BECU's lending purposes. And it's a great product that we offer. We have FHA loans, so Federal Housing Authority loans that's backed by the Federal Housing Authority. We have conventional loans, which are just, you could have, 30, 20, 15. We have a lot of different options. And then we have VA loans, which is for our veterans. So the loan approval process is important for you to figure out what you feel like you can afford to pay each month and on your budget. So there is a way to do just a pre-qualification without pulling credit. To do this, there's no it's not an approval, it's an estimate, and there's no fee for it because you're putting your information in the system. So where to find this tool at is if you go to becuhomeloans.org, and you'll see this handsome gentleman here smiling at you. And if you go to that site, you can click on at the very bottom, it says pre-qualification. So you're going to click on that button and it will take you up to a screen that will allow you to put in your information. You're going to put in your gross monthly income. You're going to put in if you have any car payments, what those are per month, any credit card payments, and kind of try to estimate your credit score. And then it will come up and it will say, well, based on the information you put in the system, it looks like you can get approved for, this amount. But in this crazy market that we're in right now, it's super important that if you are going to purchase a home, you do need to get a conditional approval that we have. So we've verified all of your income and your assets. Callie likes to have that letter before she's going to show you a house, because she has to make sure that that you are good buyers, that you guys are ready to go and everything's been checked off. So, and to do this, you can consult with a mortgage advisor, one of us. You will submit your application. We're going to verify your income and credit and any of your assets, and then we'll get a credit approval. The credit approval is good for 90 days. After 90 days, the credit inquiry that we already put on has fallen off. So let's say you didn't find a house within that amount of time. It's no problem. Us mortgage advisors will just redo the application for you so that you don't have to worry about it. So you'll be all ready for the next house. So we have BECU. We have this amazing grant program. I'm sure Callie has probably used it a lot with her clients. The grant is something that years ago, we didn't have a first-time homebuyer grant or bond or anything to help first-time homebuyers. And so we got the board to approve this grant, and every year they've increased the amount that we have to be able to grant people, and they've also changed some of the guidelines, so it's a lot more easier and it's more simple for us for sure, and it's simple for everyone. So the purpose is to help our members to buy homes. Instead of coming up with 3% down, that's the requirement for a first-time home buyer, you just have to put 1% down, and we'll go up to $10,000 for that grant. And it's forgivable, so you don't have to pay it back. So here's some of the qualifications for the grant. We lend in 10 different states, so it has to be in one of the states that we lend in. And the maximum loan amount can't be over that jumbo, because it can't be into the jumbo category. So it has to be under $726,200. You must stay in the home for 3 years. You'll have to get a membership with BECU. You have to if you do a mortgage with BECU anyways. And then you have to qualify for it, of course. And then you can use gift funds. So this is something that has changed through the years. We were allowed to have gift funds before, like if your parents want to give you money, or if you have a family that wants to gift you money, it wasn't allowed with the grant, but now it is. So you can have someone gift you funds as well as using the grant. So, and then let's see. Okay. So for the qualifications, you can't have owned a home in 3 years. So you can't be on a deed of trust at all for 3 years, even if it's land. You can't have any ownership in a home. You have to have enough assets to cover the rest of the down payment and closing cost. And you must, there's an income limit that we can go to for the grant, and it depends on the different areas that you live in, area median income limit. There is an online qualifying the home buyer workshop that you take, and we just need the certificate for that. And it's for primary residence only. It's not for a vacation or a investment property. So to get that conditional approval, these are some of the things that we need to get from you. We need to have your home address for the last 2 years. We need your social security numbers, 2 years of work history. One question that we get often with that is, if I just change jobs, am I still able to get qualified? If you're in the same line of work, then yes, you can. Another one that I gotten quite a bit is, let's say you went to college to be a teacher, and you were just in college last year, but you have a job and you want to buy a house. We can showing that you went to school to do what your profession is. We can use that as the history too. And then we need to get your income information, your salary, your pay stubs, and W-2s for last year. Tax returns we only need if you're self-employed. And then any other liabilities that you owe that wouldn't show up on your credit report, like if you owe child support, alimony, separate maintenance, that kind of thing, we need to know about that. And then where is the liquid assets for the down payment and closing costs? So we need 2 months of recent bank statements with all pages, so that we can show proof that you have the funds available. And then do you have any other additional income? So you have Social Security, you have pensions, annuities, maybe you get child support. So we needed to know that as well. Okay, sorry. Okay, now it's Callie's turn.
Okay. So we're going to discuss, of course, our poll. So there was a quiz earlier that Carla asked a question, and here is the result. So typically right now, average amount of time that the homes are sitting on the market in King County is 7 days. So this might not be surprising if you've seen homes for sale that have review dates. They're typically listed for about a week before the seller wants to review any offers. So 7 days is the average time homes are sitting on the market right now.
Not very long.
Not very long, very fast, which means you want to be well prepared in advance. So when you are going to be thinking about buying a home, first step is usually a buyer consultation with a real estate agent. It's a great opportunity to get to know the agent that you plan to work with, but they're also going to set expectations for you for the current market, as well as talk about what you might run into in terms of multiple offer situations and just how to best prepare before you start touring properties. You are going to be especially prepared if you create a list of the things that you need or want in a property, but it's definitely a good idea to stay somewhat flexible on this. Of course, if you require 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, that's what your real estate agent is going to use to create a home search for you. But keep that flexible, because as you get out there into the market, you might notice that what you hope to find is either not available in the location you're interested in, or maybe within your budget. So sometimes that changes. You're also going to learn about what to expect in the purchase timeline. So once you're under contract, your agent's going to share with you the upcoming steps and what happens. They're also going to explain different contingencies that will be in your offer contract and your purchase agreement that protect you as a buyer. The main 3 contingencies that I usually talk to buyers about to simplify it would be your initial inspection contingency, your financing contingency, meaning your ability to get the loan to purchase the home, and an appraisal contingency, where an appraiser comes to the property and gives a valuation to determine if what you agreed to pay for the home meets current market value based on nearby sold homes. You are going to talk to your agent about looking at homes. A lot of buyers start their home search online. It can be overwhelming if you're logging in and refreshing 3 different websites all day long. Working with a real estate agent really simplifies this and takes a lot of that stress away from you. We use tools like the multiple listing service, where all of the new listings are, and we can refer you to helpful apps. But all of the homes for sale on the third-party sites that you might be using right now initiate at the multiple listing service. So you don't need to be refreshing all those sites all the time. One question I get from buyers a lot is how long does it take to find a home? And so when this happens, when you're out searching for homes, of course, it's different for everyone depending on what you're looking for and your timeline. But once you've found a home to make an offer on, here are some of the things that you can prepare for. So initially, you're going to want that conditional approval letter. Like Carla mentioned, that pre-approval letter is usually necessary from by your agent before you start touring properties. This protects you so that you're not falling in love and looking at homes that are outside of your budget. We want to make sure that you're well qualified for that property before you get to the offer part. In your offer, you'll talk about the timeline that you would like to perform an inspection in and any other contingencies, as well as give an amount in earnest to the seller in as an earnest money deposit. So usually this is between 1 and 3% of the purchase price. We definitely see it go higher depending on the competition of a particular property, but it can also be less. It's all negotiable, and it's something that you write into your offer to the seller. You'll also determine how much you'd like to offer in price on the home, as well as additional terms if you're negotiating items like kitchen appliances or a washer and dryer. Those are things that you will write into your initial offer, and the seller will usually negotiate with you if they don't want to accept those initial terms. In your offer, you will put a closing date, which is typically about 30 days from the day that your offer is accepted. The seller might still be living in the property, and they may request that they have an extended closing period, or maybe after closing, they'd like to maintain possession over the weekend to continue moving out, or a longer period of time if they haven't yet found their next property. Those are all terms that you would discuss with your agent when you're writing the offer.
And one good thing about that is to talk about is we are seeing 3-week closings now because it's very competitive. So we have to make sure that we all can close on time. There's a lot of parties that have to be involved with it. We also want you all to ask questions. So please send those in and we'll address those too.
Good reminder. When you are looking at homes, there are going to be all sorts of types of properties that you may come across. I specialize in condominiums and HOAs because I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. These are usually properties that they gravitate to because they have lower maintenance. If you're transitioning from renter to owner, sometimes that's a good in-between. But there is a lot more that comes with buying a condominium. There will be additional documents that you review, like a resale certificate telling you how much the community has saved in reserves and where your monthly HOA payment is contributing to and how it's being spent, as well as meeting minutes or budget and financials for the association, all things that you may have a contingency for to make sure that you're comfortable buying into that association.
We want to make sure it's a healthy HOA, that they have enough reserves set aside to do things like replace a roof and siding and things like that.
Yes. If you've ever heard of something called a special assessment, that's usually what new homeowners are afraid of, or current homeowners of condos. And so if you review those documents in advance, you can see the risk or likelihood of a future or upcoming special assessment and make a decision on whether you want to purchase that or not. Single family residence is usually what you will come across the most. And then a multifamily residence, if you consider like a duplex or a triplex, we are also seeing a lot more new construction type properties where homes are adding additional dwelling units, and that could be considered a multifamily home as well. So as Carla mentioned, we look forward to questions.
Yeah, so I see a few of them. Ruth, do you want to?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go ahead and shoot some questions off for you. First of all, thank you so much for this fantastic information. Really appreciate it. One question that came in was, how do I choose a realtor? And Callie, that will definitely be for you.
Yes, it's a great question. So if you're working with BECU, they have certified agents like myself that are already vetted and approved for our customer service and our experience in the current market. So that's a great first step. I also recommend talking to friends and family and asking for a referral. If they had a great experience with a realtor in the past, ask them who they worked with. But it's also a good idea to interview a couple different people. You'll be tied to them and you want to put a lot of trust in them. So making sure that you have a good personality fit and the communication is flowing easily, so you can interview agents and pick one that fits best for you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Another question that came in was, how much does it actually cost to use a realtor?
Yes, this question comes up a lot. Really exciting for home buyers. most of the time, there are few exceptions, but most of the time, your agent is representing you and being compensated from the seller and an agreement with the listing agent. So, as a buyer, you do not have to account for additional funds to pay your real estate agent to represent you. That is taken care of when you buy the property and comes from the seller.
It's very important that you have a real estate agent, because as a buyer, you need to have someone who's in on your side that wants to fight for you and help you. So it's really important.
And I know that Chad in the last session mentioned that it's really good to, of course, get that conditional approval before you start shopping around. Is that also the case? I mean, in terms of, is that definitely the case when you're working with an agent as well?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Like Carla said, most are going to require it. We want to make sure that you understand the financial aspect before we get to the fun stuff of going to look at the beautiful homes. But there's a lot that comes along with it. So you want to make sure that you're pre-approved and ready, because as soon as you find a property you like, you will need that pre-approval letter to write an offer. A seller will not probably consider you serious if you haven't already spoke to a lender and found out that you can afford that property.
And
It's really important that your real estate agent and your loan officer work together as well, because a lot of the times you're going to be looking at homes on the weekends or evenings, and your agent needs to get a hold of your lender to make sure that they can get you updated pre-approval letters. So being a text away is always so helpful to be able to get that done.
nice. And another question that came in is, what happens if you are, pre-approved for the home, and you get a conditional approval but don't find the home within 90 days? What happens after that process?
Yeah, so after 90 days, your credit expires. So we have to re-pull credit. And so what will happen at that point will be you'll be in contact with your loan officer, and you'll might be 6 months, and you'll be like, hey Carla, I found a house that I want to put an offer on. I, as a loan officer, will redo all of your application on my end and get you over a pre-approval letter right away. Once we've gone through the initial approval, then we know that you're good to go. Unless you lost a job or something like that, we would definitely that would be a different conversation. But yeah.
And one person was asking, does the first time home buyer program apply towards like a loan, land loan and or manufactured home loan, as well as other types of properties?
No, it does not cover a land loan. It does. The land loans have a lot of different things for qualifying that for that kind of property. But the grant does cover manufactured homes. It has to be a double or a triple wide on its own land, not in a leased park or anything like that.
Perfect. Thank you. Another question that came in is, and I think there are so many people out there who ask this particular question about the earnest money. Because when they hear that, oh, it may be forfeited, or how does that work? And people start panicking, like, what? Wait, what do you mean it's going to be forfeited? Or it could be forfeited. So can you get your earnest money back due to an inspection, somebody was asking?
Yes, I talk to buyers as the inspection being your very first and best opportunity to change your mind about the home and retain your earnest money. So, as long as you have an inspection contingency and you notify the seller by your inspection contingency deadline, whatever you had in your offer agreement, you will be able to get your earnest money back based on inspection. And we often don't share any information about that inspection with the seller. So you don't need a particular excuse saying, oh, I'm backing out because the roof is old and it needs to be replaced. You just let them know you did your inspection and no thank you. I'm going to proceed to find another home and get your earnest money.
And as a lender, we don't want to see the inspection report because there might be things on there that the underwriters might be like, I think we should address this and this. We don't want to see it.
Makes sense. Another question, what is the single most avoidable mistake? And this is definitely for both of you. I would say the question for both of you. What is the single most avoidable mistake you see that people make as first-time home buyers?
Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay, well, I would say really by getting excited or too far looking at homes online before you are pre approved. Too many times I find where buyers are excited about a property, they just happen to be in a neighborhood and see an open house over the weekend, go in, fall in love with that home. Call up their agent and say, I want to write an offer, and say, oh gosh, we still have to fill out a loan application and get a pre-approval letter, and that's not usually something that will happen same day. And then you might feel like, oh no, that one got away. So first step is definitely getting that pre-approval letter. Secondly, I would say a big mistake I see home buyers get into is just getting caught up in some of the competition and escalating offers higher than they truly are comfortable with their monthly payment. Most important to me for my clients is making sure they're comfortable with that monthly payment, not getting too tied up on a home that they might not be able to afford, or their life significantly has to change their lifestyle. So just making sure that we're not overbidding because we really want that house, but keeping in line with your budget.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that another thing too I see is the emotional attachment. So it's so hard, and I've bought in several houses, and I understand it's hard not to have that emotional attachment with that house. But if it doesn't work out for some reason, maybe the lending doesn't work, and maybe the inspection doesn't work out, a lot of people feel so sad and they get so like discouraged, and you just have to keep on in this. You just have to keep on looking at houses, and you just yeah, if you want one, that's what you have. You just have to just sometimes you get lucky, but sometimes you get outbid.
I agree. And I do tell people, as setting expectations, that I don't expect you to get your first or second offer accepted. Sometimes that's a really good learning opportunity to find out who your competition is or what type of home most people are writing offers on. So if you don't get that first or second one, you're definitely going to learn a lot to be prepared for the following offers that you write.
I just had a buyers that just they put their first offer in and it got accepted, and they said to me, I don't think this is going to get accepted. They know that they're going into this for the long haul. Like this could not work out, and it did work out for them, but you just don't know.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Another was, how do I determine what is an appropriate down payment?
Well, it's going to depend on what you want your payment to look like. It's going to be your, kind of looking at your budget. What's the max that you want to pay a month for a housing cost? A lot of times people will come in and say, I want to know what I can afford to, but that's really not the question you want to answer, because I might say, well, you can afford $1 million house, but because there's other parts to that. So it will depend on what you feel comfortable paying per month. A good way to do that is start putting that much money that you think that you could pay per month for your mortgage. Start putting every month, putting that money like in a savings account, so that you can see, I can do it. Like I feel comfortable with that.
That's a really good one. Thank you. Another person was asking, does pre-approved mean the same thing as conditional approval?
Yes. Pre-qualification is the tool that we were showing you earlier on our website that you can go to just play with numbers to see what you, based on your information, what you think, what kind of price range you would want to be in.
Wonderful. And one person was asking, what are the dates of the homebuyer workshops that we offer at BECU? And if you want to take that, I know we have them on our website, becu.org/seminars. If you go there, and you can definitely check those out. We do them at least once a month, online and in person sometimes as well. So just check out our website under seminars and webinars. You'll be able to see them there too. So thank you for that question too.
There's lots of good education pieces too on that, not even just home buyers, but a lot of other seminars that Ruth and her team put on.
Callie, you actually talked about a pre-approval letter just a few minutes ago. And the one question on that was, how much time will it take to get a pre-approval letter to start shopping for homes? How long does that typically take?
Yeah, you can usually get just an initial pre-approval letter within probably 2 to 3 days from BECU, is my experience. But what they will offer that's even better is going through full underwriting, and that might take a little bit longer. But then you know that your assets and credit and everything has been checked, so there will be no surprises once you're under contract on a property and something were to pop up that we didn't find initially that could limit you from or restrict you from being able to buy the home. But maybe Carla has a better timeline idea on pre-approvals right now.
Yeah, well, they're a little bit backed up right now, so we're looking about a week turn time for underwriting. Yeah, so if you're a loan officer, a lot of us that are at BECU now, we're all we all have a lot of experience, and so a lot of times we can tell, like if we feel like we really have to send it to underwriting, like we're just kind of like not sure about the calculation that we do for income or what have you, and so we'll send it in, or we'll give you a letter if we feel like, oh, this is a slam dunk, we're good.
Wonderful. Thank you. Another question, if you are applying with a partner, is it true that you base the rate off of the lower credit score? And how does that work?
Yes. So we pull from all three credit bureaus, and we take the lowest mid score, and we use that for that will be determined like what your interest rate and things like that will be. There is some Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the mortgage back securities uh, that's behind us and supports us. They came out with a ruling this year that they were not going to, they want first time home buyers to purchase homes. And so they're not going to charge them some points and things that would happen if their credit score was low. And I'll give you an example. So I had a couple that the wife's credit score was really good, like 800, 790 or whatever. But the husband's, his was like, it was 650 is what it ended up being. Well, when I priced it out, not indicating that they were first time home buyers, the rate was 7.125%. But when I put in that they were first time home buyers, the rate went to 6.5. So you can see that there is a big difference that's helping those first time home buyers get into homes.
Wonderful. And actually, a question off of that. One person was asking about the if the spouse has the lower credit score, can I still use their income, even though I don't want them to be on the loan? Can I still use their income for the loan?
Not. We have one program that you can do that on, but it's not typical. That's something that you'd want to have a conversation with your loan officer about.
Wonderful. Thank you. Another question, does BECU have a program that members can take advantage of that helps them find a real estate agent to work with?
Yes. It is a great program. So, in addition to talking about that first time homebuyer grant, BECU also has a home rewards program and partner with real estate agents like myself, where you can benefit from working with one of us and receive a 20% of a 20% rebate of our commission after closing. And that's really helpful, especially if you're buying a property that needs a little bit of work or some cosmetics. I tend to tell people it's fabulous to get that check in the mail after you have saved and spent your down payment and closing costs that you saved. But you could paint the walls, you could put in new flooring, maybe buy some new furniture. So a rebate of 20% of the commission that the real estate agent makes comes back to you about a week or two after closing.
For a lawnmower, even maybe some yard tools. Yard.
Wonderful. And one quick question, I may hold on to this for the panel discussion next, was around the grant program that Chad had mentioned. One person was asking, Chad mentioned the grant program. Can you expand on that? I know we have just a minute left, so if you want to hold it for the next session, we can. If you want to briefly talk about that, you can for sure.
Yeah, the grant's great. It's a forgivable grant. I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of this. We can go into more detail probably at the next panel because we'll have more time on that. But it's for first-time homebuyers. You just can't have owned a home for 3 years. Then you're considered a first-time homebuyer, and we'll give you 2% up to $10,000 for the down payment. But you do have to come in with your closing costs and a percentage of the down payment. So 3% is the minimum for first-time home buyers. So you have to put in 1%. and you have to stay in your home for 3 years, sign up for auto pay, that kind of thing. But it's a really, really great program.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. That is all the questions we have. I know we're at time. We look forward to having everybody at our next session where we have the panel discussion. So, Carla,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you, everybody. Thank you, Carla and Callie. Appreciate it.
Thanks.